Last Wednesday, February 18th, Mark Zuckerberg walked down the street into a Los Angeles courtroom and attempted to defend his company, Meta, against claims that his platform purposefully addicts children. But here's the part that matters most for parents. If we're living in the age of algorithms, how are we supposed to compete? Even Hollywood recognizes this. In the recent Space Jam 2 movie, the evil supervillain was a character by the name of Algae Rhythm, also algorithm. And in the upcoming Toy Story 5 movie, the battle is between toys on one hand and screens on the other over the children's attention. So this isn't just conspiracy talk. This is a cultural phenomenon. This is cultural recognition that these companies aren't necessarily out to destroy your children, but they are out for a battle for their attention at any means necessary. So let's remove the drama for a second here. Modern social media platforms are primarily ad-driven. That means that people get paid when they spend more time on the platform. So they're looking at scrolling depth, how long you end up scrolling, repeat sessions, how many times you come back to the app throughout the day, and obviously time spent on the platform. So recommendations engines are trained and designed to keep users engaged and just give them more of it. Now let's add in a layer of development. Children are still developing their ability to control their impulses, to control their emotions. They're developing their ability to plan and their overall self-control and mastery. Now, their prefrontal cortex, which controls all of this, that is the executive functioning capabilities of their brain. They're developing that well into their mid-20s. So you can see how if you're a child or a teen, it's almost a mismatch if you have an algorithm that is designed on novelty, fast-paced rewards, and infinite content. You don't have weak children, you don't have weak teens. What you have is a powerful system, and that's a mismatch. So most parents would just say, you know what, I'll just restrict it. And limits absolutely do matter and are needed, but restriction alone doesn't teach regulation. So what you need to do is build in more friction into your everyday system. See, the algorithm is about making everything frictionless. I'll give you what you want whenever you want it. No problems. You don't even have to tap anymore. It just scrolls right to you. So you have to build in different pockets and spaces throughout the day and redesign your environment in such a way so that you build in a little bit of friction, and that helps to build that frustration tolerance, because the goal isn't just less exposure, it's better architecture. It's just like we say with the children who are tantruming. You don't want to just tell them what not to do. You want to tell them what to do. And in this case, it's not just about not being on screens. It's about what else do you do? How do you occupy your time when you don't have a screen in your face? So you're not going to compete with the algorithm by yelling louder. What you need to do is compete with it by redesigning your environment. And the number one thing you have to do is add the friction back in. Now, the algorithm is all about making everything frictionless. I give you what you want whenever you want it, even when you don't want it. So building the friction back in is about making spaces and places in your environment that doesn't allow the algorithm to touch you. For example, screen-free zones. So no devices in the bedroom, no devices at the dinner table, okay, or breakfast or lunch for that matter. You can also talk about turning off autoplay so that devices don't just play back to back and just even sometimes play videos that you didn't even want. And that's where the danger comes in. Your 5-year-old comes and looks at something that your 18-year-old was watching, and because it's on autoplay, they get exposed to something even crazier. Even if that child, that teen, never even searched for what came up next, okay? So another thing you could talk about is those scheduled usage windows. That's where we talked about this is where you can have screen time as opposed to where this is where you can't. So you can set your time limits around that. And then lastly, just have any physical charging stations outside of where they sleep. So those are just some things that can build the friction back in. Another thing you can do is teach meta attention, or what we call metacognition, and that's thinking about how you think. Also, thinking about what you pay attention to. So you can ask them, as you use media with them, questions like, so how did you feel when you opened up the app? Or you can ask them, oh, so how did you feel when you got that like? Or did that comment make you feel good or bad? You could even ask them, and this might be even more important, how did you feel when you turned the app off or when you closed it? All that will give you information, but it will also teach them self-awareness and self-regulation. Why did I go to that? Do I need to be on that right now? And that's when they'll start to tell you, oh, I turned it off because I felt like I was on it too long. They'll start to recognize when it's too long. And the last thing you want to do is build in those alternative reward systems. So those are projects and reward systems where you have to build skills, build on each other before you can reach the final outcome. We're talking about the algorithm. You get rapid rewards all throughout the day, variable ratio rewards, which makes it even stronger. But if what you can do is build in some type of skill-based mastery level creative activities, such as playing a musical instrument, a physical activity, learning a skill such as playing basketball, boxing, or learning how to play golf. Also, you can have those project-based rewards. So somebody learns how to do a project where each day you may not see the end product, but each day does count towards that bigger reinforcement at the end. It just teaches delayed reinforcement, delayed gratification, a lot of which we don't have in today's society. Less and less people are going to church, less and less people are going to the mosque, to the temple, to wherever they may go. And that's a place where older people and older generations would go and learn how to be bored. You would have to figure out what to do in a place where people were mostly talking about things you did not understand, and you had to be quiet and you couldn't play. That's just not here now. But building those things back in, and by using that script I just gave you, you can redesign your environment to build those skills back up. So the meta trial will unfold. Governments may regulate, platforms may adjust, but regardless of the legal outcomes, the algorithms aren't going anywhere. You still need to know what to do with your child tomorrow. So the question is not how do we eliminate technology, it's how do we work with technology in a way that our children understand it. And like I always say, it's just like the Matrix. Our children shouldn't be afraid of the Matrix. We need to know how to go in and come out of it, just like Neo did. You're not losing because you're a bad parent. You're going up against systems that are optimized to gain attention. So the answer is not panic, it's just preparation. So if you found any of this information helpful, make sure that you hit that subscribe button, that notification bell, so that you can continue to stay informed every time we drop something new. We're going to turn this into a series because this information is just so needed right now. And we would love it also if you just continue to check out our other videos that may help you. One is the screen time series we did, which really can help you understand how it affects the brain, as well as what you can do to develop a plan, as well as our behavior boot camp for parents, which just deals with overall behavioral tantrum issues, as well as parenting tips and tricks to help you be in your best parenting shape. So a lot of free information on this channel, a lot of very helpful information. So like I said, make sure you share this information, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss anything. And just remember, like I said, don't panic. We have some more parts where we'll talk about why banning social media is not going to be the answer, because you have to do something that's going to teach skills and build more long-term resilience. So if you want strategy instead of fear, make sure that you subscribe. And we're not fighting technology here. We're here to teach you how to build better children and better people in it. Stay tuned.